Most people think when Buddha first ran into the forest, he only did it for a noble cause, like saving humanity from suffering. But I think he also did it for a very human reason. Pure human reaction. He just wanted to take a break from existence, like all of us every now and then. Let's do some visualization exercise. What do you think really went down in the palace he was living in? Yes, he was surrounded with beautiful women, probably doing some belly dancing for him. But what do you expect to happen when he returned to his wife, who by the way lived under the same roof and very likely watched her own husband go into a steamy paradise every single day? Not a happy household, I bet. I imagine a rational man would want to take a break from all that silent treatment he received. So Buddha went into the forests of India the same way a 65-year-old retired man would go to Bangkok for refreshment. Sure, he was getting hundreds of women to do all kinds of things for him, but his father was the one handing him freely all these girls. What he probably didn't realize then was, for us men, the joy of being with a woman only goes as much as the challenge of first getting her. Without any price to pay for, the woman sort of drops in value. It's all about the challenge, bruh. So obviously Buddha got tired of all that and just ran. Well, the other thing is, what he saw outside the palace also fundamentally changed him. Ordinary people not doing so well with death and sickness created a burning question in him. Like, huh? Coming from a life of luxury, to see so much pain and death must have been so shocking to him. Now, I'm not sure how the Indians expressed their surprise, but I imagine it must have been pretty close to this. So Buddha was in a state of shock, maybe even close to depression. He was gripped with a sense of guilt for being so oblivious to the reality. Plus, he needed a challenge, some kind of meaningful struggle to jolt him out of his blissful ignorance. This was probably around the time he went looking for some motivational videos. But since YouTube and TikTok hadn't existed back then, the obvious thing to do is run to the forest instead. That's where the magic happened back in those days. Birds chirping, the crickety noises of the crickets, monks chopping wood and carrying water, a sage flying around on a cloud. You see, Buddha was no different than any of us. Going into the forest was basically the same as us doing dopamine detox these days. You see, the ancient guys already knew personal development way ahead of us. Buddha realized all that dopamine hits and sensory pleasures did nothing to make him a happier person. He realized we are not as happy as the number of things we have, but it's the number of things we are willing to let go of. For him, the forest was the only option to avoid any possibilities of falling back to the old materialistic lifestyle. By this point, you must have been wondering, what's the point of this video? Am I saying we should all be like Buddha and quit civilization? Maybe, maybe not. There seems to be a glorification of the forest or the mountains just because that's where Buddha supposedly got his enlightenment. But if we can be truly honest with ourselves, we just have no idea what enlightenment truly is. Is it mistaking a bunch of buzzing mosquitoes around your head for singing angels? Or is it mistaking regular sunlight for a great omen from heaven? In any case, we human beings tend to fantasize a lot. Fantasy is often a great place to escape to, when reality just doesn't cut it anymore. Once we are inside the forest for a few days, probably one of the few things we do is sit under a big tree and meditate, just like Buddha did. But there's always something everywhere. Back in the city, we just couldn't have foreseen what troublemakers these fire ants are. It all depends on the circumstances that we are living in. Maybe Buddha lived in a palace that was close to nature. So it's like he was just stepping out into his backyard when he decided to make the retreat. Maybe he had some money with him the first time around, just in case. He was a prince, and obviously he always had that fallback option of returning to the palace and into his loving wife's embrace if things went sideways. But most of us, unfortunately, don't have that kind of luxury. Once we left our wife, it's likely she would have moved on and run off with some other guy by the time we made it back. That's just the reality. Sometimes we can't undo the things we did in life, like clicking the undo button. This is just my random theory, but I think Buddha was one of the first few people who made the term vacation popular as it is today, as a way of breaking away from our mundane existence. If Buddha hadn't escaped into the forest, probably it wouldn't have made as much tourist money as it does these days.